Pittsburgh Steelers come together for off-season workouts yesterday and start to lay the building blocks for the 2024 season and start that drive toward a seventh Lombardi trophy. Also, let's dig into that draft just a little bit further here on a Wednesday. Welcome back to Mike Drop Sports, everybody. I'm Jason. Let's talk about all this stuff going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers here today, midweek, ahead of the NFL draft, about 1 week away. Let's talk about all this stuff that's going on, how the Pittsburgh Steelers were able to come together for their off-season workouts yesterday. Players looked happy, players looked fired up, and that's what you exactly want to see. But this is not big football type news because they're not really playing any type of football. What they're doing is conditioning, off-season workouts. They're coming together to start what, guys? Team building. We've talked about it for so many weeks here on the channel, ad nauseum almost. The Pittsburgh Steelers, this is where you really need to start paying attention to what is going on. Start looking at how they treat each other, how they talk to each other on the field, in the locker room. You need to see how they talk about each other in the media. You need to see how they come together off the field, doing things together outside of that building. You want to see those building blocks start to be laid now, early and often. You want to have these guys coming together and finding ways to get better every day. Because why, guys? What does that translate to if you're an NFL player, if you're a professional player in sport? What does that translate to? Finding ways to get better every day translates to me, in my eyes, the ability to find ways to win on the football field. That's really, truly, ultimately what you're looking for all the time. You're looking for guys that can find ways to win. Find ways to win in those ugly moments. Find ways to win when you have a team against the ropes to where you're able to deliver a knockout blow. That's what you're looking to develop right now. And I know it sounds corny and some may say, it's just off-season workouts. It doesn't mean anything. They're just working out. No, it means a lot. Because this is where you're coming together every day. You look at your brother beside you, and if you see them slack and not putting in maybe the effort that you think that they should be putting in to build a championship football team, you pick them up. This starts those types of things. You start to see the leaders of the football team really start to emerge and develop into their role. This is where those types of things start to happen. And when you look at a rebuilt quarterback room and Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, Kyle Allen, what do you need to see from them? You need to see Russell Wilson be that veteran and teach guys like Justin and Kyle and all those guys in that building, for example, how to be a winner, how to fight when your back is against the wall, how to get better every single day. That is what you're looking for here in this off-season program, this off-season workout program. You are looking for that fire every day. And if you're Mike Tomlin and his coaching staff, you're getting to know all your new players through free agency. You're getting to know your guys back again that were veterans from last year. You're starting to really see how this all plays out. Again, you're starting to get your units together individually, looking at them, finding out who's going to be your leaders, who's going to be your vocal guys on those units. That's what you're looking for right now. You're developing this team. You're building this team. You're creating a stairway towards 7. Do I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win the Super Bowl next year? Probably not. But I do think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to become competitive. I think they're going to have a chance. I think they're going to be able to win some games inside of the playoffs. And I know a lot of people are saying, man, they have a very tough schedule. Like, yes, they're going to have a very tough division schedule. The AFC North is brutal at times. But you look at the Steelers last year, 5-1, finishing the season 10-7, with no quarterback play. They only quarterback played the last 3 games of the regular season that actually was worth a shit. And you looked at a defense that was completely dismantled by that time, left onto the field to just drown. And now you see the Pittsburgh Steelers still able to get to that 10-7 record. What if luck and health remain on their side for 2024? What kind of special things can they do with a veteran quarterback? You're going to find all that out. You're going to see the characters start to be built here in 2024, right now during this offseason. But these coaches are getting to see a bigger, broader picture now, getting to see how guys are in shape. Are they in shape? Have they worked on in the off season? Oh, how's their conditioning? How's their attitude coming in? Do people have contract problems? Are they, bringing down the room? Are they being a Debbie Downer? Those types of things. They're getting to see the feel of this team's attitude. And now, as we inch toward the draft, when I want to talk about it a little bit more and what the Pittsburgh Steelers need to truly do. I know there's holes, guys. I know there's center holes. I know there's tackle holes. I know that there is positions that they need to upgrade at, cornerback being one. They need a second wide receiver, but they have some players in place for some of these things that they could start to draw from, to start to bring along. But the Pittsburgh Steelers need to do one thing for the 2024 draft, and that's not reach. That's not be desperate. That is letting your board come to you. We've said this on the channel too. Play your board. Don't worry about other people's draft boards. Allow them to do their thing. You do yours. You evaluate your players and create these boards that are yours and yours alone. Players that you value, that you covet. That is what you're looking for if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if you're Omar Khan in year 2, you can't afford to take a reach at a player just because you need a center. It doesn't work like that, guys. And I understand that people's frustrations. I get that. I know you want to say, man, we have to get this center first round, second round. Do you? Do you have to? You need to take and honestly value that player at that pick that you're about to pick. You need to see, does the value of that player match the value of that pick? Does that player match the best player on the board? Are they the best player on the board at the time? That's what you have to be looking for. If you want to build a team that has long-term success, you got to stack quality athletes at any position that you can get your hands on. And if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, the theme of this draft has to be don't reach, don't get too concerned, don't get wrapped up in your problems. Allow them to take care of themselves. Allow this board to fall to you. Allow these players that you highly covet fall to you and see how it works out. Yes, if there's a player that you really, really highly value and you can make a trade up for, a reasonable price and you're afraid somebody else is going to go get him. They did that with Broderick Jones. And it worked out. But you've seen the Pittsburgh Steelers trade up before and it not work out, i.e. Devin Bush. You've seen the Steelers reach because they had a major deficiency at the cornerback position before, and they reached for Artie Burns and didn't work out. You've seen them reach for linebackers and outside linebackers, edge rushers. You've seen them reach for some of these positions before because why? They needed them. And then you saw in 2020, I believe 2020, 2022, something like that, whenever Kenny Pickett was drafted, whatever year that was, 2022, I believe, or 2021. They reached when Kenny Pickett was drafted. So, at least in my eyes, they did. They didn't want another Dan Marino situation coming back and haunting them. But if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, again, guys, you have to be patient. You have to allow this draft board to fall to you. You can't reach. You can't just be out there looking at positional need. It gets you in trouble. It gets you into having real problems. It gets you into the position of having players that don't match, that don't fit your system, that aren't the best players on the board at the time, and you've overly evaluated them, and people have these high hopes for them because you drafted them in the first round, and they don't fit that situation. They don't fit that draft pick. Maybe it puts a little bit too much pressure on them. Maybe it takes away from what they could have done in their career because they're starting it out on a sour note. Maybe. But we're talking about all these positional needs that the Steelers have. In my eyes, I think they do need to get tackle. They do need to get a center. They do need to get a wide receiver. A cornerback wouldn't hurt. Having a guy to play the tackle position other than Dan Moore Jr. wouldn't hurt. You gotta find a center. We know all these things. It goes on, and we've talked about it several times. And I know some players don't, or some fans don't want to see, maybe a guy that isn't like a true center because of the Kendrick Green experiment. I get that too. But what if you couldn't get that center option, that true center option? You got to do something. So maybe they do get one of those other guys that has potential to translate. I mean, if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. Maybe you walk away from this draft with one of the two players that you wanted, or two positions that you needed. You needed a right tackle and you needed a center, but you know what? You got the center. You got the center you wanted, but you weren't able to secure that right tackle spot. You know, I'd take that as a win still for Omar Khan. And we need to realize, guys, drafts like the 2023 draft for the Steelers don't happen often, and they didn't happen for the Steelers for quite some time before 2023. Those drafts, those types of major contributions, getting that many contributions from that many players in your draft class from 2023 is a complete oddity, a rarity, and it doesn't happen all the time. And don't expect that to always happen. Don't hold Omar to that all the time. Really evaluate truly what he does here on a singularly or on a single year basis here. Don't try to get too wrapped up in gauging everything off of that 2023 draft, because man, that was an oddity. That was a masterpiece that Omar Khan put together there. One of the better ones that I've ever seen as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan throughout my lifetime watching this team. One of the better ones. Not is it the best? I don't know. I'd have to really go back through and break them all down. But just to let you know, those types of things don't just happen all the time at all. And if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, do you have to reach? Do you have to do that? No. Allow this to come to you guys. And because yesterday, when you started these off-season workouts, you've committed to a group of veterans. You've committed to a group of men on that team that you are all in on winning. And prove that to them by getting the best players available in the 2024 draft. And they will truly understand that. They will truly value that when you bring in the top flight talent, that you could possibly get inside of the draft. And hopefully this does work out in their favor. Hopefully they are able to get another tackle, a center, a wide receiver, a cornerback. Hopefully they're able to fill all those needs, a defensive tackle. Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. But I think you're really going to see some exciting things here happen for your Pittsburgh Steelers in the next week or so. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have to start those restructures / extensions for players to start to clear up some money just to be able to sign these rookies here in 2024. That's going to start happening. You may see a trade after the draft for a player, that maybe was far-fetched before. Maybe it becomes a realization after the draft once that team picks and selects its players for the new season. There's so many things that could happen. What about a draft day trade back by your Pittsburgh Steelers, gaining another high-value pick and still being able to grab a guy in the first round that truly can make a difference? We will see the con artist at work. Just be excited, guys. There isn't a ton of news today, but I wanted to talk about all these things, the variables that are about to come into play, because we're starting to watch them build and grow. And that's that off-season workouts. That's this draft. You're going to start to see this team really come together, and your picture in your head is going to start to become much clearer as the Pittsburgh Steelers embark on this journey of fighting for that 7th Lombardi trophy. And finding ways to come together as a team and win those ugly games, win those games that you should handily, win those games. Take care of business and become a real team and find ways to win together. And that started yesterday at the UPMC Sports Complex on the South Side. You need to be able to take these lessons learned here early in the offseason and continue to build on them throughout the whole season, man, and continue to grow on that as time progresses, as this team is together. You need to continue to grow all the time, every day, getting better inside of that building. All right, guys, I'm going to quit rambling on, but I wanted to just get that out there. Again, not a ton of news, but we are ahead of this draft. It's coming quickly. There's going to be some exciting times ahead of us here rather soon, but I wanted to really get out there what I thought the Pittsburgh Steelers needed to do inside of the draft, where I think that they should really be looking, and that's maybe nowhere in particular. That's just letting this board fall to them and play their board. I also wanted to talk about those Steelers and when they had their little, coming together period yesterday and how they can build off of that and how important those moments are. I wanted to really emphasize that as a Steelers fan, as a guy that talks about the Steelers every day. I think those intangibles, those variables come into play a great deal. And I wanted to continue to emphasize that here on Mike Drop Sports as we have this whole off season, continue that theme of what we really truly believe in. So, all right, guys, don't forget our live show tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'll be joined by Sean here on Mike Drop Sports for the show Steel City Live. Also, don't forget our daily upload tomorrow. It'll be out early in the morning, so make sure you check that out and continue to hit that like button for us. And that is the best way you can help us, hitting that like button. It really spreads the show around and allows us to continue to reach new fans all the time and bring more and more people into our community of thousands of subscribers. So let's continue to do that. Let's continue to grow this community. So until tonight, guys, I'm Jason. This is Mike Drop Sports. Peace.